So I always ran at midnight, and I just like to kind of be alone. And there was a park near my house, and about like 20 feet to my left, I heard a bunch of loud noises, and I was like, oh, I wonder if that was gunshots. And I kind of froze, if I'm being honest, but I did go back, and by the time I got back, their fire department was there, and they were doing CPR on someone. It kept me up for a while. Like I really kind of stressed me out, I think more than it might otherwise stress someone out, because I realized it was like how my dad died. My dad's dad was a fisherman in Greece, and my dad worked, on the fishing boat. He never really finished high school, and then he, at 16, got a job on an oil tanker, working in the engine room, and then jumped ship illegally to be like an illegal immigrant in Halifax, Canada. He walked around and he found a Greek sandwich shop, and he got a job with the sandwich shop. He ended up sleeping in the restaurant. I guess apparently he was really good at getting other Greek immigrants to purchase the sandwich shops and make franchises and all this stuff. So the owners of the shop made him a partner, and he eventually sold his share of the sandwich company for millions of dollars. And he got his Canadian citizenship from marrying a Canadian woman. Eventually they split up, and he sold everything in Canada, and he moved to the Florida Keys, and he opened a restaurant there. And then he opened a second restaurant there, and he was living there. And my mom left Minnesota. She got kicked out of high school, moved all the way down to the Florida Keys, and she had a job at my dad's restaurant. And they meet, and eventually they start dating. And the two of them, from what I understand, worked nonstop for the next 20 years. My mom says that she didn't take a day off for 10 years.
Wow.
They would open up one restaurant, then another restaurant, then another restaurant. I think they were an amazing pair, because my dad had the infinite energy, and my mom would have an idea, and he would just the next day he'd have an architect there and be doing it. And it got to the point where they started opening hotels, and then they would go to the bank and just ask for a loan based off of their previous restaurant.
Yeah.
It was always oh, we have this restaurant, it's doing well, can we get a loan for another one? And they just kept doing that over and over and over.
Wow, and they got bigger and bigger.
Yeah, so they did that for 20 years. At some point we had private jets when I was a kid, We were obviously extremely wealthy, but I think people probably didn't realize how wealthy, because my dad wore a polo shirt, some slacks. The wealth aspect had nothing to do with items. The wealth was this power that he had. We went places, and it was very much like The Godfather. People got quiet. I didn't know it, but I was treated way better than I should have been.
Wow.
I just was I was allowed to do whatever I wanted. I was walking in the backs of restaurants. I was Gus's son, you know what I mean? That kind of thing. So they were working a lot. And then my mom, after my brother was born, was 18 months after me, she was 33. They started to separate, but they started to have issues. My mom wanted to raise us, focus more on raising us, and my dad was just working all the time. He had everything. He had all this money, and they had apparently 80 businesses, and he was obviously outwardly very doing well. But from me and my mom and my brother, he wasn't doing so great.
He wasn't like a dad for you. He wasn't around.
Yeah.
Much.
My mom has a funny story where he came in our house and was he's to my mom, he's let me get you a glass of water. And then it's his house. And he walks around, he's where's the water cups? Because they were living
there. Doesn't even know. Yeah.
He doesn't even know where the cups of water are in his own house. He's never there. At one point, they got into the casino boat business. The rules in the States are you can't really have casinos or gambling unless there's certain legal rules, and especially in Florida, it's mostly on tribal land. So what they did was they built these giant boats, and then the boat would sail 3 miles out, and then you gamble. This is where people start to wonder if my dad was involved in crime. This isn't a thing he was involved in at all, but I think it being casinos, people assume, and him being Greek, people assume, some sort of crime. It was actually, I think, a big part of why my mom started to step away from the business was because my mom and my dad both started to really not like the casino kind of industry. And then eventually people want to get a piece, like these organized crime things, try to get their piece of casinos. It's a little unclear to me, but it seems like someone put pressure on the government, the United States, like to get my dad to sell his boats, because apparently you have to be a United States citizen to own these boats. They were kind of forcing him legally to sell the company. And then also this lobbyist got involved. There's this famous lobbyist in DC. He was like, apparently the United States is the most famous like lobbyist, especially at the time. So he got wind of this like forced sale, you know, and anyone that's being forced to sell something is going to have to like fire sale it, right? It's going to be cheaper. He somehow got some funding with his friend from the Italian mafia to purchase the boats. They purchased the boats, like they signed contracts, they purchased the boats, everything like that. My dad sold them for $150 million. And then they just didn't pay. And I don't really understand why, because like, how are you going to not pay? This isn't like, there was documents, the boats are there, you know?
Like it's clearly not legal.
Yeah, my dad's just going to go to court, and which he did, and sue them, and then he's going to get the company back. But somehow in this whole thing, my dad got in a fight with one of the guys, and then he ended up stabbing that guy in the hand with a pen, like during an argument.
Wow.
And then they got upset, and then they put a hit on my dad. Anyways, he went home. He goes and talks to my mom, and he tells her, he's like, I did this thing. And I was like, what the hell is wrong with you? Like, what are you talking about? And you know, they had recently split up, and it's like, this is a problem. Like, you need to get your shit together. And then this hits out, and he's driving home from the office one night, and they hired a girl, like a random person, to stop her car in front of my dad on the street. And then another car came up on the side and shot him like a couple times. Everyone was shocked.
So what happened with all his money?
You're not going to believe it, but the estate is still ongoing. It's 24 years later. But yeah, the actual money from all the assets is going to not be very much. The estate was worth like $250 million. And in the last 24 years, it's gotten down to like $6. Wow. 50% automatically goes to estate tax. 30% or something ended up going to his ex-wife, who didn't do any of the business building, right? My mom got screwed.
Wow. Yeah. The whole empire, the Gus empire, everything fell down immediately as he...
Oh, I know. That's the worst part. You know, I think if your empire falls apart the minute you die, everyone starts fighting over everything. I don't think my dad was living his life to what I would consider his fullest potential. I don't think he would be proud of what happened afterwards. But I don't blame him either, because he did what he thought he was supposed to do. He was poor. His dad was a fisherman. They had nothing. So obviously he thought, okay, I need to become wealthy. And then he set that goal and he accomplished that goal. But he wasn't happy.
What did you think destroyed him eventually?
I don't know. My mom says that he had a problem with his dad. I'm not saying she's saying that's the whole issue, but something with his dad, like his dad didn't believe in him. So there was always this like, see what I've done.
And maybe that was what drove him to be so great.
Yeah.
I mean, it might be part of it.
Yeah, I think so.
Wow. If you could say something to your father now, if you could see him again, what would you tell him?
Oh, it sucks because I would ask him what he was thinking about as he was dying, and I don't know if I'd like the answer. Because it's fucked up though. Like when you're a kid, you take something like that, like your dad being murdered, so personally. Like he did it to you. You feel like your dad left you because he didn't like you. Like it's something that kind of keeps me up. I want to know, was he thinking about me and my brother and my mom? Like being sorry that he couldn't apologize?
Wow.
Or was he thinking, like, I wish I had more money or whatever the thing? Like, I want to know if he regretted the, like, choices he made. Because I want him to regret them.